What's up guys? Justin here at Sticker Shuttle. I know it has been forever since I've posted a video, but I promise I've got some big videos coming soon. Things have been insanely busy. We have an entirely new shop essentially, but I've done so many things. I've painted, I've got new machines, I got a new plotter, I got a new FC9100, I got a new shop table, I got a new shipping set. Everything's pretty much new. So many things have grown since that last video, whether it's the business, myself, or even my knowledge. So things have changed, but the number one thing that people are consistently asking me or others in our school community group is, how can I get my plotter to cut stickers without them falling out, having rough edges, having smooth and clean corners, all of that stuff. Hopefully you guys can take away from this video what you need, because I can tell you now, it's not one size fit all. I get a lot of people saying, what are your settings? Or, what's your force? What's this? We'll dive more into that, but if you have been struggling getting your stickers to pop out cleanly, this video is for you. As you can see here, I've got two perfectly cut stickers. They are both the same thickness. You shouldn't have to change your settings between gloss or matte if they are the same thickness. Now, I will say, it is finicky and you're gonna have to waste some material in order to get this done. Now, we went ahead and printed a sheet of stickers just so that we had to test. I highly suggest you do the same. Do not do it on a client's stickers. Otherwise, you might find yourself even more frustrated because you're trying to hit a deadline. My only suggestion is with this is that you set everything else aside and only focus on this. I've been there. I've had issues where my stickers fall out as they are being cut, and then it gets jammed, and then you gotta do a recalibration, and it's not fun. Now, if you don't have one of these machines yet, it's also smart that you watch this so that when you do get it, you can dial this in before you even start cutting. Now, if you find yourself searching these kind of videos on YouTube often, whether it's through troubleshooting or it's just through interest and you enjoy talking to other people in this industry, then I highly suggest that you guys look into our school community. I'll put the link in the description. It's called Sticker Society. This is a group of sticker companies that are looking to either learn or share their knowledge or really just communicate and surround themselves with other people who are willing to learn. Now, in this community, we have people who have made their first dollar and people who are making multiples of millions. So I highly suggest you get in there if you are willing to learn and you want to learn. So if you are tired of these Facebook groups where they are just filled with bots, filled with people spamming parts and discounted inks and all this other stuff, it's an incredible community. We now have someone in every single continent. So without further ado, let's get your plotter working right so you can start selling stickers without any stress. So as you can see here, we have our stickers printing so that we can have a whole sheet to ourselves just to test. All right, so we're over here at our Graphtec FC9000. We've got a few of these, so we've had time to dial these in. But this one right here, I made some changes to it to do some specialty stuff and then to test a few things out. So I had to recalibrate it anyway, so I figured this is a perfect time to show you guys this kind of content. And again, as you can see here, we've got two incredibly cut stickers with no issues, no edges that are messed up. And it looks incredible. They're a little curled up because I've been playing with them in my hand. If you are a fidgeter, you know what I mean. Again, we got the Graphtec FC9000. This is the 54-inch model, so it should be, I think, the 140. We got the 64-inch model, but if you are printing stickers, I don't think anyone needs anything more than a 54-inch model. Almost every single sticker shop is either going to use a 30-inch system or a 54-inch system. 30-inch is nice if you have a very small space and you just want to maximize the amount of machines that you have in a small space. But I still find the 54-inch system a lot more efficient. It's a lot easier to find material for that system as well. So our main machines that we print on, just so you have some background, is we have the S9170 over here. This is an absolute workhorse. I have a video coming on that soon. It's an insane upgrade from our other machine, which is the S8600. The S9170, we don't have white ink in it. We primarily just only print vinyl stickers on that. It's usually running the entire day. This is our S8600, which used to be our main workhorse until we got the S9170, but this one has white ink. I kept white ink in this one so that I can actually just use this for specialty only, holographic, glitter, chrome, clear, anything that requires white ink, and as well as vinyl banners. If you guys have seen my past content, you have seen the praise that I've given this machine. Not only is it really fast, but it prints an incredible quality. Before we actually dive into the settings and adjusting the blade, I want to preface the importance of what settings actually mean and what other factors go into it. If I gave you my exact settings and I told you the exact same depth that my blade is at and what angle my blade is at, it's not going to be the same for you. For our stickers, we are using a 3.75 vinyl and a 2.75 mil laminate. So that equals 6.5 mils. The brand that I'm using uses a PE coated backing, so it's a lot smoother of a cut. Some other brands are going to not use a PE coated backing. They're going to use either a paper based backing or something really thick with a combination between a plastic and a paper. Now, this is something that is super important to me since I am selling directly to businesses and they expect a finished, ready product, okay? So if you are looking for something and you just can't, even after this video, you can't figure out why your edges are not smooth, I would look into something with a PE coated backing so you're not worrying about cutting through the backing is your main issue. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and cut this off here. We're gonna take it over to the laminator so we can get this laminated. Now, I've already got my matte laminate on here. Again, this is 2.75 with a 3.75, so it's making it into a 6.5 mil. I am using heated lamination with everything. Now, I'm gonna get a lot of people here, old school heads, that are like, don't you gotta let it outgas? And here's what I'll say to that. For one, the S90-170 has a built-in fan, and with the type of ink that it uses, it only needs between 4 and 6 hours to outgas, okay? For this example, we're not doing any of that, okay? This is entirely for demonstration purposes. So let's go ahead and bring this through and get this laminated. Where is my blade? And if you guys need an S90-170 and you guys need a contact, let me know. I'll hook you guys up. Again, this is just a test sheet. All right, guys, we got our sheet here. It's gonna curl up a little bit because I've been holding it like this for a minute, but as you can see here, we've got about 115 stickers. All that matters here is that we get our blade settings right so that you are not having issues with it popping out. I'm gonna hit sheet since we're just doing a sheet. The first thing that you wanna do is look at your settings here. So first and foremost, you want to make sure that if you are doing stickers, you are using the blue tip. Now, on the newer Graphtec, when I say newer, I don't mean a new model or anything like that. I mean the FC9000. They stopped using the blue tip for some reason, but this one that was purchased just, maybe 6 months ago, and they didn't send me a blue tip. They sent me this black tip, the same as the CB09 blue tip. So you want to make sure that you're using that. We'll set that aside for now. In your settings, you want to make sure that you have the CB09U+0 selected. So if you hit condition here, you will see tool number 2. You'll be able to change here. You want to make sure that this is at +0. You don't want to mess with the offset. There's no need. You want to make sure this is CB09, not CB09U K60. K60 does not mean 60-degree blade. Don't mess with that. You don't need the CB15U. The CB15U is the red tip blade. That's a thicker blade, okay? Thicker blade does not mean that the blade is better or it lasts longer or that it cuts better, okay? All it means is it's for thicker materials. Now, the CB09U is going to be your best option for this. Again, this is after printing millions of stickers. One of these blades has lasted me 500,000 stickers at one point. The speed, this is going to be determined based off of the shape. If you're doing circles or squares or rectangles or ovals, things that have less cut points, you want to go at a slower speed. You can either create a condition for that or you can just change it in your settings each time. It's up to you. Force, I had this a little bit higher for another job I was doing, but I normally keep my force at 28. I think that everybody will be able to keep their force at 28. You shouldn't have to go any higher than that, but you should never be at like 45 or 50 or anything like that, okay? And again, this is for die cut stickers. This is not kiss cut. These are your main settings here. You can mess with all this different stuff you can, but I really don't suggest it. I think everything here is default for me. My acceleration is at 4. Now, if you click number 3, you will see that I have mine off. You do not need this on a Graphtec. I have seen that Sumas need this. It's better than drag knife, and some people prefer it, but for the Graphtec, you do not need this. That's pretty much it. So when people ask for my settings, these are my settings. It's a very simple setting process. The important stuff comes from your blade depth, what type of blade you're using, a few other adjustments that we will make. Now, I also get a lot of questions on what types of blades I am using. I am using 60-degree blades which to me are the absolute best for cutting stickers. Now, these are two of the exact same brands, exact same knife, just different packaging. I get these on Amazon for about 12 bucks for a 10 pack. If you go into Graphtec, you are going to be paying 10 times that cost. And I can tell you now, after printing millions and millions of stickers, these are going to be your most effective options. They have a little blue tip. This is what they look like when they are open. These are my used ones. I just stick in here as the blade graveyard, but they are very, very skinny and very, very fine. Here's one thing I will say about these. While they are cheaper, that comes with a cost. Out of these 10, you will always get at least 2 or 3 that are duds, that are not great. Even when you're left over with those 7, it's still at least 10 times cheaper than if you were to go with the Graphtec blades. And they are more than fine for the price that they are. So here's something that is super, super important in regards to the actual Graphtec itself. There are 2 channels. You have your empty slot, as you can see, and then you have your Teflon strip slot. That is indicated on this input holder. If you put it into the back slot, then you are going to have it cut over top of the Teflon strip. If you have it on the front slot, then you are going to cut over into the empty channel. In my experience, I have only, even with Kiss Cut or die cut, only ever use the front slot. I prefer the front slot. I get accurate cuts for Kiss Cut and for die cut stickers. And I've never had one issue doing it that way. But before we do that, I want to show you guys something that we're going to do in order to test this properly. All right, so this is your CB09 blade holder. You can see here, I got the blade, it's sticking out a little bit. If you adjust this part, this will adjust the blade height. As you can see, as I twist it, it increases the blade height. As I decrease it, it goes further away. Now what I want you to do is turn this all the way back until there is no blade sticking out. You can probably put your hand over it, start twisting it, and then you eventually feel the blade. And that's where I want it to be. You should be able to run your finger over it until there is no blade sticking out. This is important for our test of over 100 plus stickers. Now, to take this blade out and put a fresh new blade in, you're going to twist the bottom part off. And don't worry, when you twist that bottom part off, this stays the same. You're going to pull the blade out. Okay, we got the blade out. And we're going to put a new blade in. I've got the new blade. We're going to put this in carefully. You don't want to bend the tip of the blade. Okay, the blade is in, and we're going to twist this right back on top without twisting the top part. You want to make sure you're not twisting the top part. Okay, blade is still not sticking out, so we are good. Now we're going to put this right back into that front channel. All right, so we've got our blade, fresh blade in here. We're going to put that right back into the front channel. Wiggle that a little bit, and we're going to twist this until it is tight. I'm going to make sure there's no movement at all. Now this is where the fun begins. What we're going to do now is we're going to hit barcode, and we're going to scan this. It's going to go through and detect every registration mark, and then eventually it will start cutting, and that's where our testing begins. All right. Now, I hit pause just so we can actually set this expectation up. The first row, you're not probably going to get your best cut. All right, it's going to barely hover over this, right? Because we have that blade pushed all the way up. Every single sticker, and again, you are going to waste stickers. The point of this is to waste enough stickers to get your settings dialed in. So we're going to let that first one cut, and you'll see that because that blade depth is so high up, it's not going to actually even touch the sticker, okay? The next sticker, we're going to hit pause again. And we're going to slowly adjust this top part so that the blade depth goes down slowly, 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 sticker by sticker. Okay, if you hit pause, move it forward, you'll see it barely hovered over it. You can see a little scratch of where it needs to be. So we're going to turn this blade, maybe, let's say it's at noon, move it to 2 o'clock, and we're going to hit continue. And I want you guys to pause in between each sticker so you can actually see the difference between the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one. As you can see here, I already moved it a little bit. And now we have a Kiss Cut sticker, but that's not what we're looking for, okay? We're able to peel it off, but that's not our goal here, okay? Our Kiss Cut setting will be different than our Perf Cut setting, but the blade depth will never change, all right? That's changed by force. So we have one sticker, it cut through that, so we know that the blade is working and the blade cut is accurate and looks nice. Increase it a little bit more. I want you to feel the back of it as well, okay? And you'll see here, the first one, you don't see anything, no lines. The second one, a little bit. The third one, you're starting to see an indent from where it's cutting because it's almost gonna cut through, all right? Now this one again is a kiss cut, essentially, but we're going to increase it. And you can do this even slower than I'm doing it. Like I said, the whole first row is dedicated towards getting it right. So you can increase it 1 hour at a time because everyone's material is different. So make sure that you are just increasing it based off of what you're seeing. Let's do another one. So not quite through yet. Another kiss cut. But it is peeling a lot nicer each time. Now I'm going to let it go past 2 or 3 because you don't want to pull it off on one that is a pinch roller, otherwise it could get jammed up. So let's let it keep going. And then I'm going to let this one go too, so that since it already started. And then I'm going to increase this, for me, another 2 hours. You can do 1 hour. So let's go ahead and look at the progression so far. We're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stickers in. And we've increased it quite a bit. But as you can see, as it progresses, it's slowly getting closer to popping through. We're not quite there yet, but we are getting close to it. All right? That is the goal. You want to keep slowly increasing it. Once you get to the point where it looks like it is pretty close, that's when you're going to make even smaller adjustments to this depth. I want you to make sure that you're not doing 2 hours every single time. You're just doing maybe, you know, a tad bit, right? A 30-minute increments. I say time because it's the easiest to determine on a 360 scale of how much you should be turning it. Now, let's do it a little bit at a time here. Now I'm just gonna do a tiny amount. We're gonna move it forward. Look at the back. Yeah, look at that. We're getting super, super close, but it's not quite there yet. So we're gonna go ahead and move it a little bit more. See, look at this. We're able to push one through, but some of these are a little fuzzy. Some peeling here. It's hard to see, but you can see like a little bit of a fuzzy edge here. Let's move it a little bit more. And I'm going a lot faster so that you can actually see the difference between them. You should go a lot slower. All right, let's move this one forward. Oh, that's crispy. Yeah. I think I'm all set. I think I have it all set. So if you look at the back of this, it looks clean and it's not going to pop out because I dialed it in just to be perfect and not too deep. If the blade depth is too much, then you are probably going to experience an issue where it just pops out as it's cutting, as well as cheap material, to be honest. So let's let it keep going and I might fine tune it. And if you look at the actual blade tip holder, there's these little tiny teeth. Think of those as movements on the adjustment. So for some reason, you are getting a little bit more fuzzy edges just on these little corners here like this, then you will want to just slowly increase it. And I'm not kidding, each sticker tooth by tooth, right? Like it can be like, boom, just like that, a tiny bit amount. So we're gonna hit continue. And you will hear a big difference between the sound of when it's cutting, okay? But we are looking good here. This looks really good. I don't see any issues with this. So here's one more thing that I will say. You might get your cut settings down damn near perfect. You might run into an issue where, like I said, some of these blades are cheap, so you might run into a dud blade. And then out of nowhere, after the 4th row, it's no longer cutting all the way through. This can be common with these cheaper blades. All you have to do is just swap the blades and you are fine. Because that blade, essentially what it's doing is it's just wearing down super quick. But when you get a good blade, you'll know because you'll do an entire sheet. But that's the whole point. A lot of you are probably thinking, oh, he got it done perfectly in 1 row. But I'm gonna let it cut through the entire thing because I wanna know, is this blade a solid blade? And I'll know by the end of it because it will cut through the entire sheet. If it's a bad blade, by the time you get to the end of the sheet, it'll be already cutting essentially like these early ones are, where it is rough and hard to come through and it's bad edges. So you'll know almost instantly by the time this whole sheet is done. The point of these first 2 rows is to dial it in. The point of the rest of the rows is to ensure that you have a good blade. I'm gonna increase the speed up to between 50 and 60. That's the best for these kind of die cut stickers. But again, if you're doing squares or circles or ovals or simple shapes with the least amount of cut points, then you're gonna wanna do a slower speed so that it doesn't get jammed up, because going back and forth like that can get caught up on these ledges. And I am making a little bit of micro adjustments, because what you can see sometimes with the Graphtec is it'll cut really nicely over here, but as it gets over here, it doesn't cut as deep. I'm not sure why, but if you just increase the blade depth a little bit at a time, eventually you find that sweet spot where it's perfect over here and perfect over there. So as you can see here, that one pops out way easier than that last one I just did. Let's see how it does when it gets to the end. And you don't have to worry about cut accuracy. If something gets messed up because you're pausing it, moving forward and backwards, and something's off center cut or whatever, that's totally fine. Again, the point of this is mainly to just get your cut settings down proper. So we're gonna go ahead and move this forward and check this out. Yeah, that popped out way easier. So that's how you dial in your settings for your Graphtec to make sure that you guys are cutting the best possible way. If you're not laminating, it's a lot tougher, okay? That's one thing I'll say, is if you're not laminating, cutting the stickers out is a lot tougher, because you're only cutting 3.75 mil. That is super thin. And when you have something super thin like that, any kind of movement or any time of it runs over this ledge or hits any of the rollers, that's way more probability of popping out or falling out while you're cutting. But if you are laminating, you should never run into that issue. And if you are, it's likely because of the material that you are using. If you have any other questions, I would recommend you comment below or join our school community. All you have to do is click the link in the description and you can join. Hundreds of sticker shops in there, from making their first dollar all the way up to making multiples of millions. I'm talking 7 figures, okay? I'm talking 8 figures in some case, actually. I have personally learned so much in there, and I know that others have as well, because they reach out to me all the time and saying, this is an incredible group. I'm so glad I found it. It feels like a family. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Cheers, guys. Have a good day. Happy cutting.